I wasn't planning on returning to my hometown for Easter. I hadn't been back in years, and to be honest, the thought of it always unsettled me. There's a weight to the place, a lingering unease that I can't shake off. But when my mom called, begging me to come for the holiday, I couldn't refuse. It had been too long, she said. It would be good for the family. So, reluctantly, I booked a flight, packed my bags, and made my way back to the small, quiet town where I grew up. The drive from the airport was as I remembered. Empty roads, old houses, fields that stretched out to the horizon like they were frozen in time. I passed by places I used to know. The old diner, the park where we used to play. The abandoned farmhouse that always made my skin crawl. The streets were eerily quiet for Easter weekend. I didn't know what I had expected, but it wasn't this. I didn't remember the place being so still. When I arrived at my parents' house, my mom was waiting for me on the porch, smiling like she always did when I came home. She gave me a tight hug and led me inside, her voice filled with excitement. "It's been too long. Everyone's going to be so happy to see you, honey." I forced a smile, but inside, I felt that old knot of unease tighten in my stomach. There was something off about this visit. Something in the air felt wrong. That night, we had a family dinner. Mom, Dad, my brother, and a few cousins. It was the usual Easter fare. Ham, mashed potatoes, green beans, and the sweet smell of pies baking in the oven. Everything was normal, but there was an undercurrent of tension. My cousins kept whispering, eyes darting toward the windows, like they were waiting for something. I didn't think much of it at first. People talk about local superstitions all the time. Things that go bump in the night, old legends that never die. But I soon realized this wasn't just a superstition. It was something worse, something real. After dinner, as we all sat around the living room, someone, one of my cousins I think, brought up the Easter bunny. I could feel the temperature drop. A heavy silence hung in the air. My cousin Aaron spoke up, his voice barely a whisper. "You guys remember what happened last year, right?" A shiver ran down my spine. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Everyone else seemed to know too, but no one said anything at first. My mom looked down at her lap, and Dad cleared his throat. It was as if they were waiting for someone else to speak. "It's just a legend," my older cousin Megan said finally, but her voice trembled. "Just like the boogeyman. It's not real." But no one looked convinced. My brother Michael shifted in his chair, avoiding eye contact. I felt a sickening realization settling over me. A memory that I had pushed away for years beginning to surface. The Easter Bunny. It wasn't a cute little mascot. It wasn't some guy in a fluffy costume hopping around handing out candy. The Easter Bunny was something much darker. It was a figure that had haunted our town for as long as I could remember. An urban legend, they called it. But over the years, there had been whispers, murmurs of disappearances, of blood-stained Easter eggs left behind in hidden corners, of children and adults alike who vanished without a trace, only to return later. Twisted. The legend went like this. Every Easter, when the town was asleep, the Easter Bunny would emerge from the shadows. It wasn't a man in a costume. No, the bunny was something else, something ancient, a creature that thrived on fear and chaos, leaving behind cryptic clues hidden inside pastel-colored eggs. Each egg contained a gift, but not the kind of gift you'd want. I'd heard the stories growing up. My Mom used to tell me to be careful during Easter, to always stay inside after dark. The bunny never came when you were looking for it. It came when you were least expecting it, when you felt safe. And it didn't matter how old you were. If you weren't careful, the bunny would find you. It wasn't until later that I realized the true horror of it all. Remember Sarah, my cousin Aaron asked, breaking the silence. She was gone for 3 days, just gone. And then they found her. The eggs, they were in her backyard. A sick chill crept up my spine. I remembered Sarah. I'd been a kid when it happened, but I never forgot the image of her pale face, the look in her eyes when she came back. It wasn't her anymore. It was something else. People said she was never the same, my cousin whispered. And then there were the eggs, the ones they found inside her house. My stomach churned. I knew what eggs they were talking about. Every year, they'd turn up, discolored, cracked open, and always placed in strange places. Under trees, behind fences, inside hollowed-out logs. And inside those eggs, the gifts. Pieces of broken dolls, human teeth, bits of flesh that didn't belong to anyone they knew. Enough, my mom snapped, her voice shaking. We don't talk about that anymore. It's just a story. A stupid story. But the damage was done. The seed of dread had been planted, and as the night wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting for me outside. Something in the dark. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind made my skin crawl. I kept hearing things, voices from the past, echoes of childhood nightmares. I tried to push them away, but the more I thought about it, the more real the stories felt. At around 2 in the morning, I heard a noise outside, a faint rustling, like something brushing against the grass. I held my breath, straining to listen. Then, I heard it again, closer this time, the unmistakable sound of footsteps. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I told myself it was nothing, maybe an animal, maybe just the wind. But then I remembered. The eggs. I couldn't help it. I had to look. Grabbed my phone, turned off the lights, crept to the window. What I saw made my blood run cold. There, in the moonlight, standing in the middle of the yard, was a figure. It wasn't human, not entirely. Tall and hunched, with long, spindly arms, it was covered in something that looked like matted fur, gray and brown, and stained with something darker. And in its hand, it held a large, pastel-colored egg. My breath caught in my throat. The Easter Bunny. I stepped back, terrified to move, not daring to take my eyes off it. The figure didn't move at first. It just stood there, holding the egg in its clawed hands, staring at the house. Its eyes were wide and hollow, like deep, endless pits. Then slowly, it began to turn. Its head twisted unnaturally, cracking like dry wood. I could hear the sound, sharp and disgusting. And then, it did something that sent a wave of nausea over me. It grinned, a wide, sickening grin. It raised the egg, and I swore I saw something shift inside it. Something moving, writhing. I couldn't look away. I didn't want to look away, but I couldn't stop myself. The Easter Bunny took a step forward. Suddenly, the house seemed too small. The walls felt like they were closing in. I backed away from the window, but not fast enough. The bunny's head snapped toward me, and I felt its gaze on me, heavy and suffocating. I turned, ran, and didn't stop until I was back inside, trembling and gasping for air. It wasn't enough. The Easter Bunny had already seen me. The next morning, everything seemed normal. But it wasn't. The eggs had appeared, hidden all over the yard. When we cracked them open, the gifts inside were worse than I could have ever imagined. But the worst part, my family didn't seem surprised. They knew. They had always known. They were part of the legend. The Easter Bunny didn't just come for the children. It came for anyone who knew the truth. And now, it was coming for me. Edit. To clarify, I haven't been able to leave. The town doesn't let you go once you've seen the bunny. It's part of the legend. You're marked. If you think you're safe, think again. The bunny is real, and it will always find you.